So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session, we will be discussing about the Indian Express newspaper. We will go through 3-4 important articles. We will go for the international events as well. We'll try to look at 1 or 2 maps and then we'll be wrapping up the session. Okay, so we'll start with the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture, and then we'll be moving forward with these articles. One is to call to remove angel tax. So in this article we'll be seeing what is angel tax and how there is this industry. When we are talking about the Indian industry, and there is this department that is DPIIT, and this department and industry has actually recommended that they can go for the removal of angel tax. So we will be talking about that. Then India China equation at SCO. You know that SCO summit is going on. So at that summit there was this interaction between the our Minister of External Affairs and the counterpart, Chinese counterpart. So we'll be talking about what they have, what words they have exchanged, and what is the current or the present scenario when we are talking about the border disputes and the India-China relations. Okay. Then new member at SCO. There was a new member which has joined. Actually, it was an observer member earlier, and then after Iran, this particular country has joined as a full-time member or full-fledged member of SCO. We'll talk about that as well. Then international, there will be seeing 1 or 2, or when we are talking about this Russia, China equation, we will see, because at SCO these 2 countries are also present. Okay. Other than that, we will be seeing, you can say, UK elections. We will not go into details of it because yesterday in news we have covered it, so you can go through that particular article. Otherwise, I'll be talking about just the event which has happened recently. You can go through the in news program on our channel and you can actually understand the process and what is the difference between India and UK's elections, etc. So that is there for your own read. There will be 1 article. Okay. Then in the end there will be a practice question for you. If you look at the front page of the Indian Express of the day, you will find out that obviously we have won the World Cup, so that is there. And the second is, for the integrity of exam, center asked stage to help in the scrutiny. Okay, so that is because of the NEET controversy which has happened, and afterwards there was certain exam which has been cancelled. So now they are going for certain you can say A or B methods. So they are trying to do that. Right now we won't be discussing until unless there is a full final outcome of this particular scrutiny. Till then we won't be looking into that, because this is the same things which are getting repeated. Okay, now we can move further and we'll start with the practice question. Okay, what is angel tax? We will be discussing angel tax. I just gave you an overview what we will discuss, but we will go forward with that. What is the primary mosquito Okay, what is the primary mosquito vector responsible for the transmitting Zika virus? Okay, we have talked about Zika virus yesterday, because in Maharashtra there are 8 cases which has been seen about Zika. Okay, when we are talking about Zika, Zika is a flavivirus. This particular family or genus, that is flavivirus. Okay, this is the same virus which is responsible for yellow fever, etc. Okay, and dengue, yellow fever, all these fevers are from this particular, or you can say all the virus which are letting you to this particular fevers, that are belonging to flavivirus family. When we are talking about the transmission from one person to another person, that transmission takes place from the bites of a particular mosquito, that is Aedes aegypti. Okay, option A is your right answer. Now moving further, and let's start with the first article, that is related to you can say angel tax. Here you can see, before budget, DPIIT backs India's INC's call to remove angel tax. Pardon me for I'm not feeling well. So anyway, hold on. Okay. So before budget, DPIIT, you know that when we are talking about DPIIT, that is Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Okay, so DPIIT is an department of Government of India, and they have actually considered the call of Indian industry to remove the angel tax. Now we will see what is angel tax in the next slide, but I'll tell you the idea. When we are talking about the new startup ecosystem, when we talk about new small industry which is developing in India, these industries will require some kind of investment. Okay, now for the investment, there will be certain people who will come forward and they will invest in these ventures. These people are called as angel investors. Okay, now what is angel tax? Now there are certain activity. When we are talking about, let's say there is this industry A, or you can say there is this small startup A which has come out with 1,000 shares. Okay, now they are selling 1,000 shares of their company to actually go raise certain capital. Now each share is of your $10. Okay. Now what happens is that the real market value of these you can say share 1000 share is $10 each, but at the market there are certain angel investors which are actually buying it for $20. Okay. Now there is a difference of $10 over here. What they are doing is, what they are pay, why they are paying it, because let's say if someone is having black money, okay, or any kind of unaccounted money, and they have to invest it somewhere, so that they can, you can say, try to there are certain, you can say, processes, and from which we can go for the unaccounted money to the accounted money, or that is basically, you can say, money laundering. Okay. Now this is basically, you can say, some kind of fraud which is happening over here. Now if that is something like this has happened, and now this is a, you can say, a process which is genuine, it is a legal process. Okay. But the thing is, this is $10 extra they are paying, so that is unaccounted money can be used. Okay. Now government, what they try to do is that if they are buying it for $20, okay, and let's say it is the right value in the market is $10, now what government will do is, on the extra $10 they will actually charge the tax. Now that tax is particularly angel tax. Okay. So we will try to talk about it. Now see, the Department for the Promotion of Industry and the Internal Trade has backed the industry's demand to remove angel tax that policy makers introduced to deter the use of unaccounted money, but was viewed by the startup as an impediment to the much needed capital rising. Now the thing is, government has imposed this angel tax because government thought that this unaccounted money basically getting into the system. Okay. So that is why government has gone for the angel tax. Okay. Now because of this particular angel tax, to avoid this particular tax, what the angels started to do is that they basically reduce the investments. Okay. Why? Because obviously they are saying that why we have to pay this tax. Okay. Because of which the amount of investment has decreased in the economy, and that is why these startups are not in favor of this angel tax, because they need money to work with their startup. But the thing is, such initiative that is your angel tax, that has actually caused certain kind of issues over here. Okay. Now coming forward over here, you can see a recommendation to remove the angel tax based on the discussion with the startup. Okay. So DPIIT, or the Department of you can say Government of India, they have gone for certain you can say discussions with the industry, and they have actually considered the this particular removal of the angel tax. Now Confederation of Indian Industry, that is CII, in Union Budget recommendation last month sought to remove the tax, stating that such a move would greatly aid capital formation in India. Okay. Now basically that is before budget. Obviously before budget there are consultations, before budget there are stakeholders which are basically, you can say, consulted with. So in that particular consultation with CII, we are going for the removal of this tax. That is what has been recommended by the DPIIT, etc. Okay. Otherwise what will happen, we will see in the budget session. Okay. Now angel tax was first introduced in 2012. Okay. So that is one thing. That is to deter the generation and use of unaccounted money through the subscription of share of closely held company at a value that is higher than the fair market value. Now they are buying these shares at a value that is higher than the fair market value of the firm share. Its scope was widened even to non-resident investors from April 1, 2024 due to the last year's union budget saw strong opposition by the startup. Now what happened is that it started in 2012. In 2024, actually they have gone for you can say they have expanded this particular tax to the non-resident people, or you can say some person who is actually not residing in India, he or investing from the abroad. Okay. So for such people also they have imposed this particular tax. Now because of which startups are not very happy about it. Okay. They have said that such initiative or such tax is basically having a negative impact on their you can say investments. Now non-resident inventors are one of the biggest source of funding in the country, as the startup ecosystem in our country is still in the nascent state, or you can say it is still new. Okay. And it is actually developing till yet. Okay. So basically what they are doing is that we need money. You can say if our country, or you can say if our citizens are going for the any kind of investment, that is well and good. But right now when we are talking about the savings and investments, okay, after COVID there was certain impact was there on the savings and investments. So right now non-resident inventors are also investing in our projects. So that is why if we are going for taxing these people also, then obviously it will decrease, or you can say some kind of advantage will be there. Okay. Moreover, investments in the startup have already been slowing in India. Now here if we see, an estimated 100 Indian startup laid off nearly 15,000 employees. Okay. Now when we are talking about the angel tax, why this is angel investment, that is important because since these startups are in nascent state, to work for a while they need an extra push, and that extra push comes from these investments. Okay. Now these investment, if they go if they decrease somehow, because of which there will be laying off activities, the employment of various people in that particular firm may decrease, because the thing is, if they do not have money, they won't be able to pay them, and ultimately they will have to go for the laying off. Okay. So in the, you can say, last year if we see, so 100 startups has gone for the laying off of 15,000 employees in 2023, and as funding winter that began in 2022 persisted. Okay. Now moreover, Indian startup witnessed over 60% decline in the funding in the terms of value in 2023. After 2022 and 2023, if we talk about that particular financial year, so we can see that 60% of the funds has been declining, or you can say investments are decreasing. Okay. So I hope that is clear. That is basically your angel tax. Now let's talk about the you can say some basics of the angel tax, so that you can remember that the event which we have discussed, the news which we have discussed, that won't be of much importance. Okay. The thing is, we have to keep a note that if this particular tax will be removed in the budget or not. Second thing is, which we should know what is angel tax. Okay. So about angel tax, if we talk about the angel tax, refer to the tax that levied on investment made by angel investors in startup. Okay. So that is on the investment when we are talking about the angel investors. Okay. And we are actually going for taxing them, that is basically angel tax. Now what angel investors are they are doing investment, and that is why it is a tax on investment. Okay. Now in many countries including India, startup receive investment from angel investors who provide early stage funding to support their growth. However, tax authorities may sometimes scrutinize these investments to ensure that they are genuine and not means of laundering money or evading taxes. Okay. So basically that is why we have come up with the angel tax. Here you will see the excess realization is considered as an income and therefore taxed accordingly. So as I told you earlier, what happens is that if the fair price in the market is rupee 100 for a particular share. Okay. And if they are buying it at 200 rupees. Okay. So there is a, you can say, these 100 rupees extra, that is basically a you can say income which is generated to that particular you can say that company, or otherwise also if we see, this is some money which they have actually got from unaccounted money. Okay. So that is why basically this is there, that tax is there. If a fair market value of startup share is rupees 10 a piece, and in a subsequent funding round they have offered it to an investors for rupees 20. Okay. Then the difference of rupees 10 would be taxed as income. Okay. So the market value is 10. Now in the subsequent round, these companies are offering it at rupees 20 and investor is buying it at 20. So the 10 rupees that is basically income of the company, and that is why they will be taxed. Okay. The angel tax gets its name from the wealthy individuals, angels, who invest heavily in risky, unproven businesses, ventures and startups, and at initial stages when they are yet to be recognized widely. So basically, as I told you, startup means that something new is being processed, and at that point of time we do not know the future of it. On the basis of the speculations, on the basis of their own calculations, they decide that this company might grow, and accordingly they will go for the investment. Such people are called angel investors. Okay. Now there are 2-3 things which is to be removed, which is to be remembered over here. That is that angel tax, that is a tax on the investment. Okay. Second is angel investors. These are the people who are investing in the, you can say, startups. Okay. I hope that is fine. Now we can move to next part. Next is India and China agree situation at LAC not in each other's interest. Okay. So both to redouble efforts to resolve issues at earliest. Okay. So recently, you know that after the, you can say Modi 3.0, this particular government which has came into power. Okay. This is the first such visit. This is not a visit to basically China. This is a obviously when we are talking about the SCO Summit which is happening in Astana right now. Okay. So this, under this particular visit, they have actually met with each other, on the sidelines of that SCO meeting, and then this is the first meeting which is happening. Now in that particular meeting, both the counterparts have actually you can say realized the situation and acknowledged the fact that whatever going on the LSE, that is not in favor of everyone. So we will be going for the efforts to make sure that this situation can be avoided. Okay, so how this situation started, you know that there was this clash which happened in 2020, okay, in the eastern Ladakh or the Galwan Valley sector, these regions. Okay, and after that it has been nearly 5 years and still we are on the same situation. So that is the thing which they have discussed over here. In their first meeting after the return of the BJP-led NDA to power, External Affairs Minister Jaishankar and the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi agreed on Thursday that the prolongation of the current situation in the border areas is not in interest of either side. Military standoff along the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh, which began in May 2020, is now in its 5th year and has soured the relation between the two countries. Okay, so that is what basically they have talked about. Here we will see some key point of discussion which has happened from the meeting between the both the foreign ministers. Acknowledgement that the prolonged border standoff in eastern Ladakh is detrimental to both of the countries' interest. Agreement on importance of the respecting line of control. Okay, line of actual control. When we are talking about, you can say these borders, there are certain issues, but there is this line of actual control which is there, and right now we are actually you can say that is a de facto condition. Okay, so they are saying that that is the important. They have signed an agreement on the not signed an agreement, but they agreed on that particular fact, that the importance of respecting the line of actual control and ensuring peace in the border areas. Then commitment to intensify diplomatic and the military efforts to resolve the remaining border issues. So I hope this is very simple. That is the present condition. Emphasis on the mutual respect, sensitivity and the interest in guiding principle of the bilateral relations. Agreement to increase meetings through existing diplomatic and the military channels. India's support for China's upcoming presidency of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, so SCO's upcoming when we are talking about the presidency, and discussion on the global issues including terrorism, regional stability, etc. So there was nothing new. Just the thing is, it has been so long since these two foreign ministers has met. So that is why we have just discussed the basic you can say constituent of the whatever meeting and whatever word of exchange has happened in that particular meeting. Okay, so now we can move to the next part, that is basically our SCO summit. Since we are saying that we have had this dialogue in the SCO summit, so obviously we will be discussing about that. Now one or two important factors which has happened, or you can say important events which has happened in SCO this time, that is the Belarus has been introduced at or you can say given a full-fledged states you can say member states status. Okay, when we are talking about the members of SCO, SCO has started in 1996 somewhere with a name that is Shanghai 5. Okay, and after that with time they have increased the you can say membership, and in 2017 even India and Pakistan also joined the you can say SCO. Actually they have joined earlier as an observer states, but in 2017 they have joined as the full-fledged member. Okay, and recently in the last summit they have actually given the membership to Iran, and recently now in this particular current summit they have actually given you can say membership status to Belarus as well. Okay, so now let's talk about the other aspects over here. Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, which has happened in Astana, that is in Kazakhstan. Okay, so please remember this fact, they might ask you. Okay, then second is the SCO occupies a prominent place in the foreign policy when we are talking about India. Okay, so SCO is a you can say regional organization. It is not even if it is not regional organization, you can say the area in which it is expanded, that is a wide area, and this is something which is an alternative to the Western institutions. Okay, so China is projecting as a alternate to the Western ideologies and the institutions. Okay, so that is why it becomes important for us. And moving next, here we will see he also extended his wishes to Belarus, which has become the member of the grouping. Okay, so that is what Jaishankar has talked about. First thing is that SCO occupies prominent place in our foreign policy. Now what is SCO? Shanghai 5, as I told you, this grouping started in 1996 as Shanghai 5. The members were China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. Okay, so these were the 5 members at that point of time. Then moving further, you will see dissolution of the USSR in 1991. Why this particular organization came into picture? In 1991, when there was this that is the timeline, 1989 to 1991, that is the timeline when Cold War just ended. Now there was this Western hegemony which has been around the world. And in 1991, when there was this collapse of USSR, there are various countries which were there, and these new countries were there. So to make sure that Russia has an influence in this particular area, China was also trying to get the influence in this area. So they have actually gone for a grouping, okay, so that these new countries stays out of the influence of the Western hegemony. So that is why they have gone for the, you can say, SCO. With the dissolution of USSR in 1991, there were concerns about the this particular the Western hegemony. Second thing was, in that particular area, since these were the new countries, so there was concerns related to the religious extremism as well. Okay, so to make sure that this area remain in peace or the regional stability is there, so they have actually gone for the creation of this organization. Okay. So there was this concern about the extremist regional group and the ethnic tension flaring up in the region. The organization was thus created primarily for the cooperation on the security matters. Okay. Now then, when we are talking about the SCO, was established in Shanghai on 15th of June 2001. In 1996, it started as Shanghai 5. Shanghai 5. 5 members we have talked about. Then in 2001, 15th of June 2001, they actually came up with the name, that is SCO, that is Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Okay. Now, before the Belarus joined it, 9 members were there: India, Iran, Kazakhstan, China, Kyrgyzstan, Pakistan, Russia, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. Okay. So here you can see, when you are talking about the other, you can remember, this is Russia, then we have China, then if we are talking about India, then we have Pakistan. Okay, and then there was this other countries, Iran is also there, which has joined in 2023 recently. Okay, and then this is Belarus over here, basically this one. Earlier this particular country was observer state, that was Belarus, and recently in 2024 it was made a full-fledged member. Okay, and other than that, there is countries like Mongolia, then there is countries like Afghanistan. Okay, this was basically your Belarus, and this is your, you can say, Afghanistan. This was Iran. Okay, this was Iran, which has actually joined in 2023, and this is basically your Afghanistan. Okay, so Afghanistan is still a observer member, and Mongolia is still a observer member. Okay, so this is Mongolia. So these are basically your you can say members. Right now in SCO we have 10 members, and those 10 members are Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, China, India, Pakistan, Russia, Belarus and Iran. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now, why the SCO is significant? When we are talking about, let's say, the regional stability, it started as a you can say organization which is focusing on the regional stability and the cooperation. Okay, but then if we see, China is also trying to gain influence in this particular region. When we are talking about the, you can say, the Central Asian countries or the countries which has actually came out of USSR at that point of time, that countries were earlier considered as the, you can say, backyard of Russia. Okay, Russia has a huge influence over there. After the breakdown of USSR, Russia wanted to have the control over these countries, but at that point of time China also wanted influence in that. If we look at the current situations, so you will see that with the BRI etc., China is trying to go for the various investments in the Central Asian countries. Okay, so that is one thing, and Russia does not want that. Russia does not want that they lose their hegemony in that particular area. So there is this inherent competition between China and Russia. No doubt their relations are improving with respect against the West. Okay, but the thing is, they are still having their own internal competition. Okay, when we are talking about the Central Asian countries or the Asian region as a whole, because obviously Russia is a huge country. Russia want to have a sway in this Asian region. Okay, so that is one thing. And when we are talking about the second thing, which is basically related to your India, why it is significant for India, what is the relevance for India? So obviously SCO membership allows India a forum to cooperate with the Central Asian countries. Now we are also trying to build good relations with the Central Asian countries because of the resources. Okay, when we are talking about the uranium etc., we have this you can say relations with the countries like Uzbekistan. So we import our you can say uranium from that particular country. So for the trade relations etc., we are trying to go close to these Central Asian countries. Other than that also, when we are talking about the trade and when we talk about the connectivity, okay, so these countries becomes important for us now. But there are clear when we are talking about the, here you will see, okay, India is getting a forum where they can cooperate with the Central Asian countries which have not had particularly close relations with the India since their formations in 1991. Obviously, as I told you, USSR actually breaks in 1991, and then at that point of time we did not have very good relations with that. Okay, but there are clear roadblocks with the current states of India's relationship with the fellow countries, fellow members like China and Pakistan. Other than that, if we see, when we talk about the SCO as a forum for the cooperation with the Central Asian countries from the India side, but the thing is, this particular organization itself is divided, because the thing is, in this particular organization, there is India as well as Pakistan. Russia actually supported India's effort to get the membership in SCO. So China has also supported Pakistan, so that the, you can say, balance of power stays in China's favor. Okay, so that has happened, and because of which there is a limited you can say usefulness, and that is why you can see that this time our Prime Minister did not go to the SCO summit. Okay, so this shows that our importance which we are giving to SCO, no doubt it is an important organization for our India's foreign policy, and any organization, if we are at the part of the table, that is good for us. But the thing is, the importance has been reducing, because now because of the India and Pakistan issue, Russia and China issue, so there are these dead blocks which can be seen in the SCO in the present day. Okay, other than that also, when we are talking about the issue of Pakistan and India, there was this China Pakistan economic corridor which is there. So that particular corridor is part of your BRI, okay, border belt and road initiative. When we are talking about this BRI, this part of BRI, that is CPEC, that is China Pakistan economic corridor, it is passing through the territory of India, okay, which has been illegally occupied by Pakistan and China. But the thing is, it is passing through that, and that is an attack on the sovereignty of India, and that is why we are not actually in favor of this particular you can say BRI. Okay, and that is why there is this issue between Pakistan, China and India when we are talking about this particular summit. There was this you can say a resolution was there in SCO with respect to this Belt and Road Initiative. So in that particular clause, in that particular paragraph, we did not sign it. Okay, so that is there. Other than that, this we have already discussed, the inclusion of India and Pakistan in 2017. Russia has actually supported India's entry. China has backed Pakistan to prove to maintain the balance of power. So that is there. Okay. Now I hope that is clear. Once again, I'll tell you just the members of the, you can say, SCO. One, you can say Russia, then we have China, we have India, we have Pakistan. Okay, there are countries like you can say Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. This is in this particular area, since it is small, so I cannot show you. Second thing is, there are certain other members which are also part of this, like this here, you can say this is Iran. Iran has been member, so this is also a member. Belarus is somewhere over here, so that is also a member. Okay, this is Afghanistan, this is Mongolia. Mongolia and Afghanistan are observer member state. Okay, now moving further, we will be talking about the Belarus. Belarus has been recently added to the organization. So when we talk about Belarus here, we will see there are other countries which are having borders with Belarus. That is, one is Ukraine, second is Poland, Lithuania and Latvia. Okay, and here you can see Russia. So that is there. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 bordering countries to you can say Belarus. So please remember that, since it is in news, they might ask you that. Okay, and again, second thing is, it is a landlocked country. Now moving further to the next article, which is related to your economy section. Okay, okay. As always, there is this you can say Telegram group where you can get the PDF of it, because there was this question, sir, from where can I get the PDF of these particular slides. When we are talking about the PDF of newspaper, we are not providing a PDF of newspaper. Okay, if you want that PDF, you have to subscribe it. Okay, anyways, India's LNG imports at 44-month high as the gas based power outcome jumps. Okay, since you know that there was this summer which was very harsh this time, and so power requirement was very high, not only in India, even in the surrounding countries. So because of which there was this price which has been increased. Okay, so that is one thing. We go for our LNG imports, you know that there are various countries from which we import and LNGs. Okay, so this time there has been an increase 1.77 to the 2.60 million tons. Okay, so that is there. So that is the increase which has happened. Second thing is gas based power generation units, 3.03 billion units to 4.60 billion units. Okay, you don't have to remember this data. From this article you can remember one or two things, that is basically central you can say countries from which India is importing LNG. Okay, second thing which have to remember is that we are importing LNG, we are producing it but not up to the, you can say, demands which India has. Okay, So highest we are importing from Qatar, second United States, then Australia. These are the 3 states which you have to remember. Otherwise, there are other you can say states like Russia, Nigeria, Oman, Malaysia, Indonesia, from where also we are getting. You have to remember these 4, okay? And this order, please remember that as of now, Qatar is the one which is the largest, you can say, exporter of the LNG to India, okay? Now moving further to the next one, that is related to government to streamline visa processes for Chinese technicians and others, okay? Union government is working on the framework to process visa application for the entry of Chinese and other foreign technicians needed in the non-production linked incentive schemes sectors to boost the production. Now the thing is why we are discussing about it. A few days back I have discussed an article wherein the MSMEs or the small industry which is facing a lot of issues because they have actually gone for you can say import of particular machineries from China. But the thing is, since there was this Galwan issue, after that there were certain restrictions on the visas, etc., and that is why Chinese technicians are not able to get into the country. These machines which we have bought, actually they are not operationalized because technicians are not there. Second thing is that why can't we go for the other countries technicians? Because the thing is, these technology is important from China, one thing. Second thing is, these Chinese technicians are quite cheap, or you can say these are basically working at a low prices. So that is why the small industry cannot go for the foreign technicians, okay? So that is second thing. And now recently the government has tried to go for the streamlining the process of visa for the technician from the China, because the thing is, obviously we have the machinery, we cannot go for the production because that machinery is not operationalized. So recently they are working on it. So that is about it, okay? We have talked about all these issues. If you want to read this, you can read it, because since Galwan issue we have not granted very much visas to the Chinese nationals, okay? Similar is the part of China. China is also doing the similar thing, that they are not actually allowing the government officials or any kind of technicians from India to China, okay? Now safeguarding the security bottom lines, that is what Xi Jinping has said. Replace outdated Euro-Atlantic models, Putin has said, and Xi set out plans for Eurasian security. Now in this particular summit which has happened, that is SCO, okay? So in that Astana summit, they have actually gone for various talks when we are talking about the China and Russia as well, okay? So let's see. Russian President Vladimir Putin and the Chinese President Xi Jinping on Thursday attended the summit of security grouping created by Moscow and Beijing to counter Western alliances, okay? Now obviously when we are talking about the SCO, it is already held that SCO is considered as an alternative architecture to the Western institutions, okay? So now they are actually trying to make it a counter alliance to the Western alliances, okay? Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which has having the annual meeting at the Kazakhstan Astana, which we have discussed, established in 2001 by China, Russia and the 4 ex-Soviet Central Asian countries of Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. So we have talked about this in the previous slide. It is a regional security and the economic cooperation organization. It was later joined by India and Pakistan and Iran. Recently Belarus has also joined it. Belarus joined at the SCO on Tuesday. It was an observer state and dialogue partner in and right now when we are talking about the observer states and dialogue partners, there are Turkey, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, etc., okay? Anyway, moving further, when we are talking about this particular you can say these two people talking, they have actually emphasized on the group's focus on ensuring security if its members, and said the SCO will the SCO will form a dedicated center that will coordinate response to various security challenges, okay? So that is something they have said, that they will be coming up with a center, or again a small kind of you can say group which will be responding to the various security challenges. In the face of the real threat of the Cold War mentality, we have to safeguard the security bottom line, okay? So basically that Cold War mentality, or you can say when in that era of Cold War there was no direct confrontations, okay? The area or area of confrontations were basically another countries. When we are talking about the issue of Cold War between America and USSR, so the thing is, these two countries never fought directly, okay? But the thing is, they had these arenas like Afghanistan, they had these arenas like Vietnam, Korea. In these areas they had they have been fighting because the North Korea and South Korea, these were the proxies of, you can say, USA and USSR. And when we are talking about the Afghanistan, So you know that earlier Russia has a sway in Afghanistan, and after that there was the Taliban, and to remove the Taliban, when Russia left that particular place, then USA has come to the, you can say, Afghanistan. So that was all thing which has happened in the you can say Cold War. Right now also in the face of the real threat of the Cold War mentality, right now they are saying that the USA is having that Cold War mentality, the Western countries are having this Cold War mentality, and to make sure that area is stabilized, they have to go for certain steps like this, that they have created a center, okay, in case there is a, you can say, some kind of security challenge. Okay, now moving further, from the international arena, there was this elections, when we are talking about the UK elections. So in that, Labour Party has actually they will be coming to the power. Okay, so that is why this particular article has been taken. When we talk about the, you can say, processes in India and you can say UK, so there are certain difference in the processes. So you can go and see that video. As I told you, there was this program in news in which we have discussed it yesterday, so you can go and watch that. So Conservative acknowledge the Labour win, urge voters to not hand them a super majority. Okay, so basically they are saying that Labour Party might get the power this time, but they have urged to the voters that they should not give them a super majority. Other than that, elections came amid increasing anger at the government over the falling public services, falling living standards. Okay, so that is another thing. 14-year rule by Tories, which saw 5 PMs to end Labour in the centre state after biggest 2019 failure. There was various events which has happened at that point of time. Again, we don't have to go for the domestic, inside the domestic politics of UK, that is of no use. So just the changes in the process which has been discussed in the in-news program, you can go through that particular thing. Other than that, yesterday we have discussed the impact of, if the Labour Party's government comes to UK, what will be the impact of that particular you can say parties policies on our country and the UK India FTA. Okay, we have discussed that. If you have not watched that, you can go and watch that. Okay, now moving further, for your own read, there is this article which is saying that scientists discovered ants have evolved effective wound treatments. Okay, so that is amputation. Okay, so you can go through this article if you have interest. Okay, otherwise just go and check this particular terminology. Now last part, that is basically your practice question for prelims. Which of the following country has a border which of the following country does not have a border? Okay, please remember that it is some typing error. Which of the following country does not have a border with Belarus? Russia, Ukraine, Georgia and Poland. Okay, so you can attempt this question. We have discussed the map, so you can attempt the question and answer in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.